What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And in protest of the working conditions and the lack of good faith negotiation on the part of my two co-hosts, I refuse to introduce myself.
It's okay. AI, third host, will take over, and the profits will go directly to Bob Chapek or Bob Iger, whichever Bob it is now. Because this is mostly nitpicking, a podcast of every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yeah, where are we on Bob Watch 2023?
I think
Which one
Bob
just got
Iger
back?
right now, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So he's Bob Chapek would never let this happen.
But Bob Iger's about to fucking fight Ron DeSantis in like a public forum.
Oh yeah, that's
He's gonna
true.
hit him in the face with a rainbow flag or something.
It's like Bob Iger is made of fire and Ron DeSantis is made of water, you know? They shouldn't be friends, but maybe they will be the closest of friends by the end of this.
The unlikeliest of allies come together this summer in Pudding Love.
Florida. Yeah, I don't know. Florida love. Florida mental. That's like kind of like Elemental. I don't know. That movie, I saw a couple trailers for that recently. What is it about? Anybody seen a trailer for Elemental? We're going to have to do it in like 2 weeks.
What if fire and water kissed?
What if they did kiss, though? Would they explode? One of them explodes, right?
I guess we'll find out, huh?
Feels like a less aggressive Romeo and Juliet, where it's like, I don't like your kind, and your kind don't like my kind, and our kinds can't be. I don't know why I'm doing a voice. Yippity-doo, scrimp-a-doo. And that's Elemental, folks.
I hope so.
You're really doing a Hatfields and McCoys, not a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
What is Hatfields and McCoys? What is that?
There were two like hillbilly families that hated each other.
Yeah, they made a show of it on like
okay.
AMC or something. One of the Prestige
Deadwood?
networks.
Is that what Deadwood is?
I mean, it's like the same time, kind of, maybe a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out if there was a show where that came from.
The
No,
word
it's a
Hatfield
real
and
thing
McCoys?
that happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they also made a show of it called Hatfields and McCoys.
That was the name of the show?
Yes.
Incredible.
I mean, I never saw it, but some people liked it. I don't know. It's one of those shows where like you're like, it's get 14 million views or something, and then you ask anyone that you know, and they're like, yeah, I've never watched it ever. And you're like, who's watching Criminal Minds? Somebody. A lot of people.
It's like how MASH is like the most like watched thing ever or whatever.
Well, I think in its day, if you ask the average person, like, did you watch MASH? They'd be like, yeah, I watched it. It was like, but now it's like the most watched thing is like Ginny in Georgia, and no one's seen it. Or if you have, like, you just, there's like,
Nando, you made that one up as a joke, right?
No. Ginny in Georgia was Netflix's #1 thing about 2 weeks ago. And before that, or since then, it was The Snowman, that thing we all love and watched. Remember that? Mr. Policeman? That was #1 on Netflix last week. Netflix is broken.
Is that a take on Gin and Juice? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I've never watched it. I just assume it's like Grace and Frankie, because it's two women's names on Netflix. It's just what those shows probably are. Maybe they're not as old, though. Maybe they're younger.
I'm realizing I think I just made a SNL joke from the Pedro Pascal episode of SNL. So
when they do the bit about that show? Yeah. That's where I learned about that show. And then I looked at it on Netflix, and then it was like, it does exist.
This is why we need writers, so that DJ doesn't accidentally steal jokes.
Exactly.
Who can he steal them from were it not for the writers? The AI, probably, or whatever. Or, yeah, but you don't want to improv. You've seen what that has done to the world.
Yeah.
Improv everything?
Improv has been a net negative to the world. We all have to agree.
Yeah. I can't wait for, like, the parts of shows, like, because this week we're going to be doing The Mandalorian. If, like, Mandalorian was filming but hadn't finished, and then episode 5 was just when the improv started, and like when they couldn't fix the scripts that didn't work, and so all the characters just go, what else?
It's just Dave Filoni being like, I know what I'll do. I'll take old Clone Wars and Rebels that are already written.
Actually,
and
he's very
paste it into the Mandalorian.
He's perfect for this, yeah. And take those couple episodes from Boba Fett and put them in as flashbacks. It's like the Mandalorian's doing it this time. You always wondered what happened to Grogu. Well, there you go. But yeah, you guys, this week we're talking about Mandalorian Season 3. It's going to be so exciting because today is May 4th. Happy May the 4th.
Happy May the 4th. How'd you guys celebrate?
This.
I watched a lot of episodes of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Slept a lot.
A lot of sleeping by a lot of people today. You slept, Diggins slept. It's good you guys are getting
I recommend it.
I would venture a guess that the vast majority of the population of the world slept at some point today.
That's true.
Yeah. Besides, like, Gary Vaynerchuk and guys like that, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
my
People
God.
on,
I feel like
besides the Sigma males on their hustle grind set.
Yeah, they sleep 1 hour a week in 2-minute intervals every, 3 days or something like that. But yeah, besides that.
I
just
told you
us.
guys he came to my job, right?
I mean,
Yeah. You told us.
did, yeah.
You didn't tell the
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay, so yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk came to my job. Guys, he was so popular.
He's going,
It was
he's
like
huge.
Backed by, like, it was so popular that they had to, like, film, like, show a recording of the screening in, like, the main hall for people who missed the first go round. They're like, I missed this. I have to watch it, like, recorded. That's how freaking much he was like gangbusters. So
Yeah, and if you knew what DJ did for a living, you'd know that this is a sign that our society will collapse soon.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he did for a living recently. Now he's going to start his own business.
Right.
Flipping
Yeah,
Pokemon cards or whatever Gary Vaynerchuk would do in today's
oh my
date.
god, I wanted someone to ask him about V-Friends so badly. Tell me about V-Friends.
What's there to ask, What is it? I don't know. What's it
Remember
for?
when-
Money laundering. The end.
Remember when he said NFTs would be the new, like how you got like restaurant reservations and shit?
Yeah, remember how he wanted to make a Disney World? He wanted to make like a Walt Disney World that you could only enter if you had the NFTs?
With his V-Friends, yeah. It's not just a JPEG. It's like a ticket for everything.
Right, and they're like the next Pokemon because they're like, astonishing avocado or whatever. There's a lot of that.
They're probably pretty cheap now. You can probably get some for like 0.06 ETH.
Oh, it's
get on
steal.
it.
Yeah, let's all bring up our V friends and compare how we look to each other. This one looks like me because it's wearing, I don't know, wearing socks. Yeah, just like me.
This one's
Before we
like
get
me
to that-
because I have a long, slender neck like a giraffe.
Before we get to that, you guys, this week, big week in entertainment. 2 things. Number 1, writer's strike. Everything canceled.
Yeah.
No more Seth Meyers. No more Jimmy Fallon. No more any of them.
We're going to be getting a lot of more reality TV.
Transformers 2 again.
Nobody's brave like Conan and just airing long stretches of nothing.
Right? I want that back.
I know.
I bet they could do it. Like, I would watch that. Like, the stuff. Because, like, what they do, what Conan did was, like, little. The clip that's going around is him spinning around his wedding ring for, like, 30 seconds or whatever. But, like, stuff like that where the hosts don't even try to be entertaining, just, like, kill time. I would love to watch some of my favorite hosts do that. Like watch like Stephen Colbert just play solitaire. He doesn't talk it through it. There's nobody. There are people in the audience, but they're all quiet, and he just plays it. And then luckily we don't write a show, so we don't have to worry about that for this.
That's true. And we already put minimal effort into this and basically just air nothing. So I feel like we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've ever listened to this show, you know we definitely don't write it ahead of time.
That's right. There's one part of it that is written that we're going to skip in solidarity with Ben Schwartz and the other famous people that are doing this. But you guys, the other news. Well, okay, here's the other. One thing about the writer's strike that I think is interesting.
I wanted to say real quick that we're being goofs and making jokes, but we all do actually support the writer's strike, and I would rather all my favorite TV shows cease to exist forever than for producers to get a single thing that they want.
I'll watch 5 Transformers Revenge of the Fallens before I'll let them replace Mike Scollins with AI or whatever. Mike Scollins is one of Seth Meyers' writers who he makes fun of a lot. I mean, listen, it would be an improvement some weeks, but
Yo,
yeah, Scollins, he's a real character. I do think they made a big mistake, not the writers, the studios, because besides like professional sign makers, no one's gonna have better signs at a protest than writers.
That's
true. Like there's gonna be some good signs out there. I saw people bringing up Quibi's name. That means the sign is great.
Quibi.
Yeah, because that's what it is. That's what happens when you make content without writers, when you just let that algorithm do it. Except it's a bad thing.
I mean, let's all be honest. We would kill for Quibi to be back.
I
We so
love it.
badly want Quibi back.
It's kind of back. It never left. It's on the Roku channel now, apparently, but all that great Quibi stuff.
Is that what we have
Chrissy's
to
Court
watch
is
now
not back
during-
in session, but yeah.
That's what we have to watch now during the writer's strike.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, that's where all the scabs go is Roku.
My guess is if you wanted to find new episodes of Chrissy's Court, you're probably going to go on like Blue Sky or whatever. That's where she is now, right?
Probably.
Find her on Blue Sky.
That's
hey,
the
you
next
laugh.
one.
That's where we'll be next. You can
Yeah.
Find us at No See Nitpicking on Blue Sky.
Now, to be fair, we record these probably 3 days before they air, so it's likely that Blue Sky will be replaced by like Zambo or something, whatever the new one is. But just sub in whatever thing is relevant for the joke.
Well, you think AOC and Chrissy Teigen are wrong? Come on, sir.
I mean, AOC's usually pretty on the ball. And Chrissy Teigen, I don't know, man. I have to ask John Legend. Like every episode of Chrissy's Court had a little segment where they just threw it to John Legend. That's so good. Yeah, I'm not on Blue Sky yet. I have not really gone out of my way to try to get on it, but I hear there's somebody specifically who's being weird there. Who is it? Jake Tapper, maybe? I don't know.
Oh,
But,
fun.
yeah, I've heard rumors that Blue Sky
He's-
is kind of chaotic in a fun way.
I've heard it's fun too. It's a little
Yeah.
bit Wild Westy right now, which I'd appreciate.
Yeah, I've heard the tech dudes who were there first are like mad that new people are showing up now, and I do appreciate ruining a Tech Bros day, so it has that going
Yeah.
for it.
I mean everything, right? Reddit, Stack Overflow, all the chans, you know, they all just get ruined
Yep.
when the normies show up. Or incels. You'll either get normies or incels. Those are the divergent
Yeah.
paths.
Or Nazis. You
Or
know?
Nazis.
A lot of
They'll
overlap
take
there
over.
with the incels.
And not to say this overlaps with incels or Nazis, but I would say furries also can really take over a platform, like, you know, make it their own. But
They're
Frequently-
harmless.
I'm
Frequently,
just,
they
yeah.
don't overlap at all with those first two things.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you never know. It's probably one or
I
two.
said frequently,
you know?
not never.
Yeah. I don't know, who's a famous incel?
Oh my god.
Are there any famous ones?
All the writers for the
that guy who had sex and has to leave now.
Love that guy.
all the writers for the Babylon Bee, I assume they're incels. Why else would their writing be so bad and angry?
I mean, it's the best job in the world. Just take that one joke and change the noun, and then boom, you're done for the day. I'm sorry, my gender is cereal. Boom. Clocked out. It's been real, guys. See you tomorrow.
I'm getting like, I only bring it up because I have to get off Twitter. It's officially, my experience at least is becoming bad. But like, I was getting like ads for the Babylon Bee, and it's like, check out this funny video, and it's like, what was it? Like, 9 reasons why it's great to be a man. And I'm like, is this a joke? And I clicked on it because I'm an idiot. And it was just like, you could grow a beard. You can enjoy an ice cold beer. And I'm like, I didn't get the joke. And I'm like, am I missing something? What have I failed to get here?
That's the problem with bad satire. You got to read the whole thing to figure out what the joke is supposed to
God.
be, as opposed to good satire.
I don't have
It's immediately
time.
clear. Yeah.
I just don't have time.
Guys, if you had to name one thing that's the best thing about being a man, what is it? If we had to, we'll do Babylon Bee's homework for him. I'm going to say it's landing a helicopter without a prior experience. It's nothing more manly than we can all do it. We've just not all been in this situation, but it is possible.
Incredible callback.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's my one test, I think. If there's ever some sort of man society or whatever, if we ever make the one from, like, you know, what's his name? Al Bundy's one from All in the Family or Married with Children, whatever show that was. I don't care. Trans, anybody's involved. You can all come in as long as you think you can fly and land a helicopter without trying it before. That's all it takes to be a man these days.
We have to be very clear. You don't have to actually do it. You just have to think that you can.
You just, well,
Yeah.
because, I mean, when are you going to get the opportunity? But, like, you know, it's what, 1 pedal, 2 pedals, and a stick? How hard can it be?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the most man thing I can think of. That's
It's a pretty
the
good benefit. It's a pretty good
yeah.
benefit.
I mean, that's why you want a couple men in any helicopter at any time. Not that many, because then they'll fight over who gets to land the helicopter, but just enough that if one guy's bored or sleepy, that other guy can take over. Also, I imagine women can fly helicopters too, and they're not stupid enough to try to think they can land it, though. That's only the guys.
Unfortunately, it's impossible to know if women can fly helicopters or not. We'll never be able to figure this out.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a famous person that flies a helicopter, or like a famous animal, or like not animal, but like I'm trying to think of like who's a famous helicopter pilot from like cartoons. Baloo from DuckTales probably had one, or whatever, whichever one he was on.
We know that women can pilot helicopters because Tig Notaro did it in the zombie movie, and she was so
Oh, did
good
she
at it.
though? Yeah. That's true. That's the only way.
Well,
For
Michelle
people that don't
Rodriguez
know.
did it in Avatar.
Oh, in Avatar,
Oh,
yeah.
that's true. That's true. So yeah, there you go. That's the only one you need. I watched Dungeons and Dragons bits of that the other day. That movie's still good, you guys.
It's a shame that it just didn't get the run it deserved. We're probably not going to get another one, which is a shame.
It seems like it did okay well. Like, I could see them scaling back a little bit money and star-wise, and probably making another one. I don't know.
Well, they definitely should.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You guys all have to buy all the toys, like The Rock told you to and stuff, and make it so that they can go in and say it's profitable, and then they make more.
There's several metrics along which the D&D success can be measured, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, are the international numbers where we want them? No, because we're always aiming for higher. But there's room for growth there.
That's right. Yeah, I think that movie, yeah, it didn't do amazing. It did okay. I don't know what they thought it was going to open at. Like, I'm sure they wanted it to make $1 billion, but I could see the projections being somewhere close to where it ended up.
I think
it's
it was
a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I think it was a bad time of year. I know it's weird, but maybe if they did it in like the February release timeline, like around when a Megan like came out, it might be like a little surprise. Like, oh, look at this. You know, set lower expectations, and you get like a really good, fun February movie when nothing else is out.
Yeah, it was too close to Shazam and what's the other one? And Mario and John Wick. Yeah. Yeah, it could have been the first great movie of the year. Not that Miss Regan wasn't, but the first great crowd-pleasing family movie of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, where even there's also a bit where a robot does singing and dancing. But in that, it's Chris Pine's little doppelganger spell thing. Not like Miss Regan. But you guys... Oh, wait, there's one other news. This thing I just read, but I wanted to get some predictions because someone pointed this out to me maybe a week or two ago on Twitter, that we had successfully... By we, I mean I. But we, the podcast, had successfully guessed the title of the Fast and Furious 10 long before it was known to the public.
Oh?
Yeah, we're usually pretty good at this. So we got Fast X out of that. So I heard a rumor today, and this makes so much sense to me because when they announced it the first time, I was like, that's not a good idea. Remember, there's another not Fast and Furious. I'm sure there's some overlap. Another Captain America movie coming out soon.
The New World Order?
That's right. So apparently they're going to change that title probably to something else.
To something that's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, exactly. To something that's not going to get you right onto, 8chan and all that stuff. So with that said, but not knowing what the new one is, what do you guys think it might be?
What's likely to happen? I mean, so it's going to be Captain Falcon, Captain America, right?
That's right. Yeah. The not real one that you say, he's not the real Captain America, that one. Not me say that, you say that off air. But yeah.
Yeah, I say that all the time off air. You got me.
Yeah, it's Sam Wilson is Captain America. I believe Bucky is in it, although I don't think that's been confirmed. We have the first Israeli superhero, Sabra. I'm not sure
Wonder
why.
Woman.
But not like, I'm not sure what the deal is with Sabra. I've never read a comic. She's relatively new. This is also the movie with all the Hulk characters. So you got,
because they
the
can't
leader.
make a Hulk movie.
Yeah, and then you got you got the leader coming back. You got the one who died replaced with Indiana Jones. General Ross is Indiana Jones in this one, and then I think Liv Tyler is confirmed to be in it again. I'm trying to think if anybody else. Who else would be in that? What other captain? Oh, and then the kid, the one who's like his little second Falcon from the show.
Oh yeah,
he's in it too.
I make things.
Yeah, he gives him the
Star?
Captain Falcon wings at the end and is like, here, you be Captain Falcon next movie. I can't remember that character's name.
Wait, who's
Torres? Something Torres. What's
He's
up?
like New Falcon.
Yeah, he's like in the comics when Captain America became the Falcon, or when Falcon became Captain America. There was another character who's I don't know what his deal was before that, and he has actual Falcon wings. And he just became the new Falcon. I believe his character's name is Joaquin Torres. I always get it confused with Julio Torres, the comedian, who I think is very funny. But yeah, that guy's in it. He's been showing pictures of how he has abs and stuff.
Wow,
So
that's
you need
many
to.
people.
that's the rules. Yeah, and there's so many more. I mean, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, we know she's in this one. So I can give you a general idea of the summary. I can tell you what not the summary, but like the gist of it is, apparently. And this is, I'm sure will all be in the first trailer. Unless things get rewritten by the AI in the next couple of weeks and they just change the movie, which wouldn't be the first time. Remember in Eternals when they made the person into the big celestial at the big island? That was referenced once since in She-Hulk? Yeah. So that thing is apparently made of a special metal that is not vibranium, but is a different, very valuable Marvel metal. I don't think it's been 100% confirmed that it's the other one, but it's the other one. So apparently all the nations of the world are fighting over it, which I imagine means we're going to get different factions of like America led by Colonel Ross, and Israel, I guess, led by Sabra, and probably Wakanda. They're probably in there. They're one of the other countries that comes up and stuff like this. And then Julie Louis-Dreyfus is probably going to be doing something else, and that's the movie. Everybody's fighting over this big island of who knows what.
Okay, we gotta guess the title based off that.
Yeah, like kind of knowing who's in it. What's it like? Okay. So it's not based on a comic that I know of, at least. What's like a really bland Captain America title? Like, Captain America, A Fallen Son, or something like that. Or
Captain America, Justice for All.
Oh, that's a good one. I could see that.
I was gonna do like Fight for Freedom. America the Brave.
I could see something in Freedom, but
I feel like
maybe
it's
not
going to be
Fight
a
for.
world thing. If it's going to be like all these different factions, I feel like it's going to be like Captain America, World War, or something.
See, that problem with that is they're probably going to make a World War Hulk movie that isn't this.
That's true.
So I don't think you can do World War in the title, although I do think that would work if it wasn't for that. I was thinking, I forget which book this is. I don't remember if this is the book that has Isaiah Bradley in it. But there's a Captain America comic called Red, White, and Black. I could see this one being Red, White, and Green or something like that as the Hulk tie-in.
Christmas.
The only problem I have with that is it seems like it's like, well, you got Red Hulk, you got green, you got all the green characters, and then you got white. What are we leaving out here? Any other skin colors in these movies that we're going to ignore in this title? So for that reason, I don't think it quite works, but that is an option, something like that. I want to say, let me see, because when he came in, it was not during New 52, but whatever Marvel's one of those was, Marvel Now or whatever. I want to see what the first storyline he was in was as Captain America, because they all have some sort of like subheading. If you want to like buy the trade paperback, it'll be like it'll have some name that we can just steal. Let's see. I don't know.
Are we now in charge of writing the new title because of the writer's strike? It's like it's up to us to come up with the
Well,
title.
yeah, you can't use this one. This doesn't count, Marvel. But yeah. Well, no, actually, Marvel, use the one that replaces black with green. Go for it. See if it works. That can't backfire at all. So I'm looking at this now. I'm trying to find. So I have like there's the volume. It's like the trade paperback, but I want like volume 1. Oh, okay. So volume 1 of the first Sam Wilson Captain America run was called Not My Captain America. So that probably won't be what they do. Although they could get a lot of people in the theater that would be outside protesting otherwise.
That's true. Or going to see it.
Or going to see it, exactly. There'll be people that will be there. You know what? Yeah. You know what? Oh, I don't hate this. The title for the second volume of Captain America Sam Wilson was just called Standoff. I actually think that kind of might be what this is, because this is what it is. It's all the countries kind of showing up. And then, yeah.
I feel like they go for more grandiose titles than that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, what if we go real on the nose, like Captain America, Global War, or Global Stand-Up, Global Standoff, Global Conflict.
Yeah, it can't quite be a Modern Warfare game already, but it can be kind of that, like a title in that neighborhood. That sounds
Captain
like something
America, Lightfall.
Captain America,
yeah.
Catching Fire. Captain America, Mockingjay.
Ooh,
Captain
they put out a trailer for that.
Stars, whatever the hell the new one is.
Oh, well, you know what? Yeah, you could just do like Stars and Stripes or something like that. Now that I think about it, I could see them just calling it like Captain America versus the Leader or something like that. I think that they made a mistake not calling Doctor Strange versus Scarlet Witch, and instead giving it a title that refers to a cooler movie. But
what if they go, because maybe it's the last Captain America movie, Captain America, The Last Avenger.
Oh, maybe.
Like Sam Wilson's The Last Avenger or something. I don't know.
Captain America,
that's
the
true.
Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's what I was trying to come up with.
That's it. Yeah, Captain America, The Ballad of Rats and Angels. Everybody knows what that is, right? That's what the next one will be of the Catching Fire ones. Listen, we're 30 minutes into the podcast. We still haven't talked about Mandalorian. But anyway,
we've said so many titles. One of these has to hit.
One of these is going to be it. I do think that I think they would do red, white, and green if it wasn't for the obvious problem with that. But I think it'll be something like that. I don't hate Standoff. Looking at it, I'm like, that is what some of these are. But you guys, speaking of red, white, and green, I don't even need to be too far off because that's what Boba Fett's colors are. Not that he's in this. It didn't call him, apparently. But we got to talk about the season 3 of Mandalorian.
Whoa.
Ba-bum. Yeah. So, you guys, we decided to do this because it was this or watch 2 episodes of Citadel. And I don't think my TV would let me.
Or put up a poll. And we're like, we're not putting up a poll. We're going to put up a poll.
Absolutely not. That's not
we
what
don't work for the people.
Well, and
Also,
to do that, we would have needed to type and write, and we're not doing that.
Yeah,
right.
No, thank you.
If anything, we
And
work against the people.
That's right.
And Twitter's fundamentally broken, so, you know.
Yeah, and we don't have Blue Skies yet, or whatever the next one is. Zogler.
Yeah, because apparently any day now you'll have to be a blue check to vote in polls anyway, so.
That's true.
I forgot. Damn it.
Well, the problem is he made his dog CEO, and the dog has kind of been dragging its feet on that one because it doesn't think it's actually a good business decision. So
Okay.
it's kind of at the whims of the dog on this one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, speaking of dogs, there's dogs in these kind of. Not like actual dogs, but like things where you're like, that's a dog. What's the closest thing to that in Star Wars? Just the droids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Droids are
Well, are there like
The
human,
closest
like,
thing
not
to
human,
dogs
but like
in
bio?
Star Wars is dogs.
Who has the dog though?
Yeah, when have you seen
There's
a
dogs
dog?
in Andor.
Where are there dogs in Andor?
The
believe you,
like
but I can't
junk
remember.
starship guy in the planet that he's from has dogs.
Wait, okay, the planet that he's from. You mean where he lived or when he grew up and born?
Yeah, the one that he grew up in and was born in.
Oh, yeah, because he tries to...
They were Corellian hounds, which look like dog pigs.
Yes, that's right. You're thinking of Ferrex, right? Or is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
Ferrex. Yes.
Ferrex, yeah.
I
feel
still think droids are closer.
I think so, too. I think some of the droids function as pets. Like, I think BB-8 and, like, R2-D2 are kind of like pets.
Yeah, they're dogs. They're dogs.
Yeah. Has no one ever just had a dog with, like, a hat on? Kind of like how all the Willow rat beasts were like a dog with a little plastic rat face on. Like, I feel like that feels like something they do in, like, episode 2. But, yeah, not a ton of dogs in Star Wars. I guess it's a long time ago, so they hadn't domesticated them yet. But anyway, we got to talk about Star Wars episode, whatever, The Mandalorian, season 3. Diggins, as the IMDb's been. But, wait, this doesn't have an IMDb summary, so what are we going to do?
Yes, so if you're new to this podcast, we do a little thing called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where 2 of us go head-to-head trying to guess what the IMDb summary for whatever we watched that week is, because they're usually not very good. However, IMDb does not do summaries for seasons of television, only episodes. So I have tracked down what the website denofgeek.com claims is the official synopsis for season 3, which has a very similar cadence to an IMDb summary. So that's what I'm judging this based off of. Now, you might be wondering where did Den of Geek find this official synopsis? Well, it's funny.
I am both wondering and as a joke wondering, but I want to know the answer to this question.
Well, it's a very similar process to how they do, how they get IMDb summaries, which is why they're of a similar quality. Because you see, what happens is the interns for the website, whether that be Den of Geek or IMDb, are sent on a dangerous journey into the darkest depths of the jungles of Indonesia. Hacking their way through overgrown foliage, avoiding deadly poisonous creatures, or deadly venomous creatures, there's both. Across sinkholes and other natural threats until finally they reach a waterfall hidden in the heart of the jungle. if they bathe in the water that pools at the foot of this waterfall, then they are granted interstellar knowledge from the aliens who visited that section of Earth thousands and thousands of years ago. And with that interstellar knowledge, their third eye opens, allowing them to see into the future, where they can look at how different media turn out, and then in their like psionic trance, they write down summaries about what they're seeing. Unfortunately, this process does kill them. But so one of the interns does not bathe in the water and gathers up all the synopses they wrote and then travels back through the jungles of Indonesia, back to the website where they give them the summaries that are then displayed on the website for our viewing pleasure. So I have that Indonesian Vision Quest summary right here before me. And I believe as last week's loser, Nando, you get to choose who goes first.
Yeah, so before I do that, I just want to ask, like, how many sentences is this? Is this decide, like, how it usually is? Are we looking at, like, 2 sentences, a gigantic run-on sentence, or is it, like, a paragraph of, like, and then this, and then this, and then this?
It's 4 sentences, but none of them are that long.
Okay. I will go, oh, man. See, usually I want to use going first, like, because I've listened back at all the ones I've lost. A lot of times it's because I don't know the characters' names, and then Diggins goes and names them. So I should go behind him. However, I know most of these guys' names. Oh, man, this is a tough one. I want to see what DJ says.
All right. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. Din Jar... Yeah,
sorry,
please.
I'll also say it's... I mean, it's more or less accurate, but it's not very detailed.
Okay. And it's not terribly long.
I mean, it's not one of the longer ones, but it is still 4 sentences.
Okay, man. Okay. Din Djarin and Grogu must go on a journey together to assist Bo-Katan in reestablishing the Mandalorian tribe after learning a deep secret about their home planet of Mandalore while facing a new threat from the once defeated Empire.
All right, well, that was 1 long sentence instead of 4 individual ones, but okay.
There were periods in there, I think.
After could have started a second sentence. I was curious about that too. But,
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the way these are written, it often can be either one long run-on sentence or 4 different... It's a lot like clauses, usually. It's like, and then they go, do this, the country of this to this, and like, yeah, so I see it. It is the cadence.
Thank you.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Okay. I'm going to do a couple of things that DJ didn't do. Hopefully these pay off for me. All right. And I honestly am having a really hard time phrasing this in a way that both is technically true and sounds like what they would say. So I'm going to say, following their reuniting during the end of the Book of Boba Fett, Din Djarin and Grogu go on an adventure throughout the galaxy. They team up with old friend Mandalorian Bo-Katan to investigate the home planet of Mandalore. But when the Empire when the Empire begins to make moves in the shadows, Din, Bo, and the rest of the Mandalorians need to work together to protect the whole galaxy. And then for the 4th sentence, it's a list of cameos. Jack Black, Lizzo, what's his name from Saturday Night Live, the end. Yeah. Beautiful, so, I couldn't think of a 4th sentence, so I just did 3 and then the end.
Well, neither of you did great.
That makes sense.
But
even though I named all the cameos, or some of the cameos, I guess I didn't even scratch the surface when you get down to it.
But I think in the end, I do have to give it to Nando for a couple of reasons.
Oh, fantastic.
He was so much better than me.
Not really, but he got a couple things you did. DJ, basically all you got was you said Din Djarin and Grogu. Nando also did that and got a couple other things. So here's what the actual summary is. The journeys of the Mandalorian through the Star Wars galaxy continue.
Oh, that's good.
Once a lone bounty hunter, Din Djarin has reunited with Grogu. Meanwhile, the New Republic struggles to lead the galaxy away from its dark history. The Mandalorian will cross paths with old allies and make new enemies as he and Grogu continue their journey together. So Nando said a thing about them continuing their journey together, mentioned that they had been reunited in a different piece of media.
Yeah, that was the hard part. Real tricky.
And mentioned that it was a Star Wars thing. So
That's fair.
It is a tough thing to summarize because it's like, how much of the last 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett do you say? Because Mandalorian said 0, but you've got to figure the summary would at least say 1 or 2 things about it.
Right. Well, DJ, as usual, you must accept your punishment.
I'm
for
so doomed.
failing, which is that you must summarize. I think we can make this a fairly light summary, but still, just tell us generally.
I think I got
what
it.
happened.
Yeah, I think I got it. All right, so again, the benefit of this is for the people who haven't seen, season 3 of The Mandalorian, but you want to like kind of follow along, understand what's going on. So here we go. So Mandalorian, Din Djarin and Grogu are back together after Book of Boba Fett. We don't get an explanation. Doesn't matter. Essentially, the gist is Din Djarin has to. He wants to be accepted back into his cult again with all the cultists. Because he was banished for removing his helmet and abandoning the way. So he has to go back to the planet Mandalore and bathe in the living waters, and then he can, say the creed again. Because if he's not, he's an apostate. He's a dirty non-cultist who broke their cultist rules. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go bathe in the living waters. He basically gets to Mandalore. There was like a whole thing that was he gonna get there? As a curse, he gets to Mandalore, and it's basically fine, except it's been taken over by like mutant people or whatever. But like it's not cursed or unbreathable. It's all good.
Confusingly,
it's bad, but it's all good.
Confusingly, they seem like post-apocalyptic mutant people, but then later Bo-Katan's like, yeah, they were always here.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
it seems like Mandalore sucked, and it was here's the thing. They're gonna be Star Wars people who would like, actually, but look, we're doing our best. Where it seemed like Mandalore was like a shitty planet that they built dome cities to make less shitty and live in. I think that was the vibe.
Yeah, it feels like Mandalore is a bunch of different things depending on what episode it is. Because sometimes it's Godzilla's, and sometimes it's Secret Rebel Base or Empire Base, and sometimes it's, like Planet of the Apes and stuff, or like the Land of the Lost. It's really what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, the Mando gets there, he's fine. He gets captured by, like, a beast that it fucking steals your blood or whatever. I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff going on.
He gets captured by a thing that feels like it'll be important and then isn't.
Yeah.
It does steal your blood, though, so watch out. Through an incredible sequence that just seems fucking improbable, Grogu goes to Bo-Katan and, like, relays a message that he's in trouble, so Bo-Katan rescues him and gets the Darksaber. Well, like, she won it, but it didn't happen yet.
Wow. That sounds interesting. I'm glad we paid attention to it, and it was an important plot point, right? Remember that scene in Lord of the Rings where one character just casually drops the ring and another one picks it up, and it's like, this is important.
Exactly. Okay, so now Mando's like, so they go to the living waters, and he's bathed. This is also kind of important. The big thing that's like the crest of the Mandalorians, like their god or whatever, they see it. They see that thing.
Only Bo-Katan sees it.
It's called the Mythosaur.
The Mythosaur, yeah.
It's made
Bo-Katan
of unobtainium.
Is the Mythosaur some kind of legend or something?
Yeah, it's from the Symbala Galaxy or something. It's from Metaphoria.
Stop.
It's free ideas,
so
Lucas. Free ideas. Don't use them. Writer strike. Doesn't count.
Oh my god.
Can't make the Galaxy Symbolia. If I ever see it, you're in some trouble.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so that happens. They go back to where all the Mandalorians are hiding on a beach filled with monsters for some reason. And he's like, "Can I be back now?" And they're like, "Yeah, probably." if I get this sequencing out of order, let me know, because now like stuff happens. So that was like Act 1 of the season, and now we get on to stuff. Stuff including rescuing hulking Mandalorian son from giant dragonbird creature, eventually defeating giant dragonbird creature and taking its kin for your own to become Mandalores.
Again,
and then fucking like dropping them off somewhere, forgetting about them forever.
I was gonna say, again, a thing that where you see it and you're like, oh, that'll probably be important, and then it's not.
Featuring other things like going to a planet with Jack Black, Lizzo, and Christopher Lloyd to solve a droid murder crime spree. Featuring...
That's after something else.
Well,
yeah,
no,
I was going to say, there's the one thing that's really easy to forget about.
Featuring the Pocket episode with Dr. Pershing.
Yeah.
That's not even what I was talking about, but you're right.
What else? There's so many things featuring, you could forget them.
Oh, right, and there's another thing.
The Swamp Thing pirate.
Yeah, the pirates and fucking Tim Meadows and stuff.
Oh, yeah, featuring... I haven't even gotten to the High Magistrate.
Yep.
Carl Weathers is back, baby.
Mm-hmm.
As the new governor, High Magistrate man. He's so cool.
Yeah, of Planet Hubtown, where all the buildings are nice and there's some pirates and stuff, but it's getting better.
Yeah, Navarro's been gentrified.
Yep.
Featuring, I don't know what else. Help me fill, guys. I honestly...
The guy from Kim's Convenience is back.
Oh,
remember him?
Yeah.
He wears a little coat, and I'm like, good for you. Finally someone wearing clothes that aren't like giant robes or your uniform.
Yep.
I like that he has off-duty clothes. That's part of it. You have all the Bo-Katan and her friend stuff, like her old tribe
featuring
guys.
The armorer deciding that Bo-Katan, because Bo-Katan wants to pledge the oath too, because she saw the Mythazord. Mythazord.
Oh, it's the Mythos. It's a robot. That'd be cool.
It's from Power Rangers. It's what the Power Rangers all combined to make in the Arthurian Legend season.
In season 4, a fucking clone of what's his name, Giancarlo Esposito, is going to show up in the Mythazord. Mendo, you thought I couldn't build the Mythazord, but actually I did. Here's how it happened. This makes sense. This was better than whatever we were doing, right?
You forgot a clone, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Featuring what else? Oh yeah, so Bo-Katan's like, I want to pledge, and then they go, okay, you can pledge, Bo-Katan, and she does. But then the armorer's like, actually, go get your people. We're gonna reunite Mandalore. You can take off your helmet. You don't exactly have to follow the way. You walk in like both worlds. You're in like the light and the darkness. You're so cool.
Yep.
And then finally featuring, hey, the Empire, it's back, baby. They're not just random Imperial warlords. They're a unified movement, and they have a lot of guys, and it's really important. Giancarlo Esposito is going to try and clone himself. He's doing a great job. And the Mandalorians and Grogu and Din Djarin win. Oh, Grogu gets a mech
Grogu's
suit.
in this?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. I forgot about him.
He gets a mech suit.
Yeah. Not just the mech suit. He walks around in the skin of a friend of his. Like they take his carcass and put some pits in there so that Grogu can use it.
Oh, God, man.
His caretaker, too. It's like old nanny.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And then they win, and they're friends with the New Republic now. And Din Djarin says, hey, you work for me now, or I work for you. It's very unclear what the relationship is, but it's like, we work together now. So isn't that cool? Yeah, I'm sure I forgot stuff, right?
There's some other cameos from other stuff, but none of them really matter.
Yeah, that was
but like, there's
basically
that.
it.
Yeah, there were some things where like people were like, "Ooh, it's that guy," and I'm like, "That's sure."
There's the guy from Rebels who shows up at the Republic base.
There's that guy, yeah.
We still haven't got Ezra somehow. I guess they're waiting for season 5 or whatever.
I mean,
we
there's
still haven't gotten Cal Kestis. I don't know what that is.
Ezra has to finish being in
yeah.
all of the Flash edits before they can show up in Star Wars.
It's just so good. He's not. He doesn't. Or they don't deserve him in Star Wars. He's making the best thing ever. But also, I want to say they did like the Ahsoka trailer. So you could see Ezra in that, and then if you really want to see Ezra, you can just pretend that's episode 7 of like the season of Mandalorian or something. That's how these go, right? Just throw some Ahsoka stuff in there because that's what we're doing next. And Ahsoka starts. You're like, I don't know what any of this shit is.
Well,
It's
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
don't forget the section of this season that's like, hey, be sure to check out Book of Grand Admiral Thrawn when that comes out.
Yeah, that's true.
man.
You get a Thrawn name drop. You get what's his name, Hux's dad, I guess, or something. It's like one of the guys in holograms. And then you get those red guys that just the scrubbiest of scrubs apparently.
The Praetorian Guard.
The Praetorian Guards, yeah, the new Boba Fett's, I would say. Of like looks cool, gets fucked up. Doesn't do a damn
I mean,
thing.
they fuck up Mando Dad.
That's true. They killed Jon Favreau one.
Wait, what?
That's the Jon Favreau's one.
Yeah, he
He
voices
did the
that
voice
guy.
for it.
He doesn't do the physical performance, but he does the voice.
Oh, okay. That's
That
cool.
yeah. What's his name? Pedro Pascal does the physical for him too. He just really wants to be involved. But yeah, no, he that one's one of the Jon Favreau's.
Okay.
We never see inside of it, so I assume it's the character from Solo again, but just like filling out the suit differently. It's that same Solo.
Yeah, he
character.
actually survived Solo. He climbs up out
Yeah.
of the grave in the original post-credit scene, and then over to a
like
set
the dark. Does he like the Darksaber over his head so we know he's important?
Yeah, he climbs
how you
out of
should
the
just-
rubble, lights the Darksaber, and then finds a set of Mandalorian armor. He's like, "This is me now."
Listen, I think we're like 2 seasons away from something like that happening. Maybe.
You mean like how Andy Serkis in Andor is going to become Snoke?
I love that. Apparently he survived. I don't know if you saw that. He did an interview this week where he's like, he lived. I don't think we're ever going to see him again.
Oh my god.
But like, he didn't want to make all the little kids cry. I love him so
Stop
much.
doing this.
I mean, I'm
Oh
fine.
my god.
As long as we never see. I trust Andor more than any of the rest of these, so I'm sure they have good reason.
And if he does show up again, it'll be for the saddest scene you've ever seen at a Star Wars thing.
Oh man, yeah, that would be rough. or if like when he was like he survived, just means like he survived the end of that episode, and then we're gonna check back in and watch him just drown in the start of season 8 or season 2.
Oh, is that
yeah.
why Snoke looks like that? Why he's all shriveled and whatever? Because
He
he's
drowned.
got
Fell
waterlogged.
at the bottom of the ocean? Yep.
It's all coming together.
And then Palpatine finds all the cloning stuff from Gideon on Mandalore, and he's like, "I'm going to stop making a bunch of fucked up little guys with this waterlogged corpse."
And you're like, are you though, or is this something that happened twice by accident? Neither of you planned this. So like, what? How important is this information? Because
my God.
it does seem like 2 of them were doing cloning stuff. Like on their own terms. Because Gideon, like, I don't know. I mean, it's part of the problem with these shows where like none of the things that connect into the big plot can matter.
Right.
You know, like we can't be like, oh man, I wonder if Gideon's going to retroactively show up in episode 7 with his Mandalorian armor. Oh, he died? Get out. But yeah, like we can't. So we have to, every time they connect to one of those things, it's like, I guess this doesn't matter then. I don't know. Yeah, it's a mess.
So anyway, that was season 3 of The Mandalorian, guys.
Yeah, were there post-credit scenes? I don't think there were.
No.
Right? Yeah.
They said Thrawn 1 billion times just so you got the freaking point. Oh my gosh. I guess like, hey Nando, what did you think? Assuming I didn't miss anything.
No, I think we got most of it. Also, I haven't said this in like, an hour into the podcast, but if people are like, why is this audio bad? I'm recording in a room that I haven't set up yet, and I'm holding the microphone in my hand, so it's a mess.
That's why this podcast is gonna be the shortest one on record.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
no other reason. There's
Yeah,
no
it'll
other
only
reason.
be 3 hours long.
I mean, we can clown on The Mandalorian season 3 for much longer if we put our minds to it. I'm sure we could find stuff to dunk on it for. I'm sure we could do a whole episode, like per episode of the show, and just go, what the fuck were they thinking?
Don't
Here's
tell me.
Here's my review of Mandalorian season 3. I remember seeing episodes 1 and 2 and going, okay, this is what it is. I also, for people that don't know, I have not watched the Clone Wars and I have not watched Rebels. So there are not that many Rebels characters, but there's Clone Wars characters up the wazoo. And if you care about Bo-Katan, then that's great. But if you don't, you might have trouble with some of these things because as a character, a lot of her stuff is like connected to all that important stuff from Clone Wars. And she's like talking about it. You can kind of make sense for what she's saying. But I do think a lot of the emotion probably comes from having watched her do those things. But either way, I do think this season is the worst one, but only because, like Diggins was saying about certain things coming up and then going. The season started a lot of like really promising conversations, or like brought up some interesting points, and then completely ignored them. Like episodes 1 and 2, who gives a shit? I don't care about any of this Mandalorian religion, law, whatever. But like, you know, it's just we're doing episodes 1 and 2 to get him back to this position where we wanted to have him when season 2 ended, because we undid that, and it's very stupid. But it did feel like kind of, okay, when we get to the start of episode 3, that's when we're really starting. And then episode 3 was really interesting, and I don't think it was perfect, but I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting. This is almost Andor stuff. Like we're doing something, and like we're gonna learn about the Empire or whatever these guys do, this little Operation Paperclip thing. And then we went right back to the Bo-Katan and them are trying to rescue the kid from the big pterodactyl thing, and that was the end of all that cool stuff. Then Moff Gideon showed up and was like, I was in the second season, so here I am again. And it's just really not like frustrating or disappointing even. No, disappointing's a good one. It just seems that, like, I wouldn't have been mad if it was just little ideas just thrown out there and like kind of the anthology way we're used to from this show. But it's not that, because this is one big plot that we're following. This Mandalorian has become Clone Wars again, where like it's all about Bo-Katan uniting the Mandalorians and going to Mandalorian, talking to these other Mandalorians and stuff. So like when that is happening, I'm not that interested. And every so often that takes a break to do the little anthology kind of missions, and I'm like, oh, this is something. But then we give up on those for like plot again. And I didn't think it was very good. I think Mandalorian, like Din Djarin and Grogu, were wildly misused in this. It's crazy how they managed to stuff the most bankable character in the history of media, pretty much, into the background of most of this show. And I didn't think any of the new characters were anything. I didn't mind the cameos, but I didn't think they were anything super interesting, except for Tim Meadows. He was great. But yeah, I kind of, when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, oh, people are complaining because there's too much paperwork. Like, that's something. But yeah, the show couldn't really bring it all together. Some of the fight scenes were cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you, DJ? What did you think of Mandalorian season 2 or 3?
I'm with you basically everywhere. I think it's hard. It's definitely the weakest season. I think there's this difficult thing where, creatively speaking, Star Wars is able to do a lot in the space of, like, the Empire's heyday, like, between episode 3 and 4. There's a lot you could do there. See Andor. And I think the problem with everything episode 6 is it relies on all this stuff, and there's, like, somehow less to do. And I don't know if it's because there's, like, too much business going on in, like, the rest of the Star Wars universe. But it just feels like this show is like, all right, well, we know we have to create the First Order. There's also a little housekeeping we have to do. This isn't really about Din Djarin and Grogu anymore. It's about this other stuff. And I find it not very compelling. And it's weird because it's almost like the show knew that, because at the like very end of the show, Din Djarin looks into the camera and be like, don't worry, we're going to classic Rick and Morty adventures. Back to season 1. Don't worry about it. So it just felt weird.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Mandalorian, the initial selling point of Mandalorian is that it wasn't about the big plot stuff in Star Wars. It was just a Mandalorian doing some stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I think
maybe we're getting back to that classic Rick and Morty. I don't know.
I don't want to completely.
He's not the main character anymore. Now it's a show about Bo-Katan.
Or that. Sure.
I think I don't want to completely
blame. She's the real
blame
Mandalorian the whole time.
I don't think Dave Filoni is. I don't care for, like, his part of Star Wars is not my favorite part of Star Wars, but it's also I just haven't watched that much of it. But I do think this season has gotten infected with the Filonity of everything, and like that kind of pulls all the fun stuff out of this, and we're just left with characters and plot points and stuff. Because now that I think about it, yeah, this season did a lot of things that started a lot of like interesting things, or like there was something with, like, they would have a choice where it's like, oh, what are we going to do with this? Ooh, why is the armor cozying up to Bo-Katan very conveniently and, like, seems to want to let her do whatever? Oh, she just disappeared. And you're like, oh, are they going to make her, like, a bad guy or something? Or even, like, with the guy with the with the, what was his name, Pushing or whatever, the cloning guy. You like see that
Pershing.
whole episode. Pershing, right? Yeah, and you're like, ooh, what's going on with him? Is he gonna form the First Order again, or like, is this character gonna have some really complicated? Nope, he's dead. And nope, the armor is good. Whenever they had an interesting choice, or like an easy one, they always went with the easier choice, and it felt just like really unsatisfying.
Well, not only is Dr. Pershing dead, but also by the end of the show, I'm like, and also that whole plotline was nothing. It didn't mean anything. It didn't matter to anything.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of paperwork for Tim Meadows, and I guess like I don't know all the other robots that work there. But yeah, I don't know. How about what's her name? We didn't talk about this, or I didn't mention it, but we can't forget. I'm pretty sure Cara Dune died in the off screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's pretty good, isn't it?
She died on the way back to her home planet.
She really did.
He
that's
mentioned
pretty funny.
Carl Weathers is like, she gets brought up a little bit in the very first episode where Mandalorian's like, I thought Gina Carano was your marshal, and Carl Weathers goes, no, she got recruited by like the New Republic to join a special forces unit, and now she's gone forever.
Oh, see, I was going to say, I believe, I'm not positive about this, but I think if you look at the ship that Gideon escaped from, you can see like some piece of her clothing or something. That's supposed to be like, she died transporting him. So she really did die on the way to someone's home planet.
Oh, damn.
Like I said, not positive about this, but I do think that character did die during that like thing.
Damn.
I mean, it'd be funny. It'd be really funny.
It would be extremely funny.
Yeah, and it says here in the log that she pissed herself and then cried like a baby in the corner. I guess she always could have done that. Yep. Sounds just
I guess
like
she
her.
wasn't cool
Whatever.
after all, it turns out.
Yeah. What was that character's name? I already forgot.
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune, yeah.
Diggins only said it like 3 times.
I totally forgot.
I mostly said Gina Carano, to be fair.
Yeah, I know her name for sure. I mean, she's the star of Death on the Prairie, but the rest of it, it's like, don't know. Do you have any other thoughts, DJ?
No, I would love to hear Diggins' thoughts.
Yeah, Diggins, where are you on this one?
So unlike the two of them, I binged this over the past couple days because I was not watching
Poor
it as
bastard.
it aired. Honestly, like, it's a pleasant enough watch where it's like, it's easy to just let it kind of wash over you, and sometimes there's a cool action scene and you're like, yeah, or sometimes a Salacious Crumb shows up and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's
a whole tree of them.
he's-
How many Salacious Crumbs do you want?
There's never enough Salacious Crumbs for me, Nando.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like as a whole, it just does not hang together. Like Nando said, everything that seems like it might be important that gets brought up ends up not being important, or they just completely change directions. And there were several points in this where I was like, I'm interested in seeing where that goes. Like, I wasn't super into I'm a sucker for exploring a destroyed civilization. So I was like, oh, are we going to do a lot of like adventures in destroyed Mandalore? I could be into that. But then that's not really most of it. And then it's like, oh, is this going to be about Bo-Katan's walk with Christ? She has a religious
Walk
conversion.
with Mythosaur. Sometimes there's 2 sets of footprints, and sometimes there's 1,502 sets of footprints on the beach.
That's when the Mythosaur carries.
That's when Mythosaur has me.
But then she doesn't really... I don't know. She just kind of like goes along with it because they say she can, but she never really seems to be that affected by it. And also, even though there's supposed to be like ancient animosity between her like liberal Mandalorians versus their orthodox Mandalorians,
Yeah.
they just like... It just doesn't really show up at all. They seem fine with each other pretty much the whole time.
They have some knife fights and get over it. You get a little vibro knife fight, and then it's all good.
They have one vibro knife fight, and that's it.
And even
That's all
that,
it
it's
takes.
just like these two are kind of jerks. They would fight each other for if they were if they were both wearing helmets or not. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're the two ones who are jerks on both sides.
Yeah, what's it? Axe Wolves, is that guy's name? The one that's not Sean
Axe-Wolves.
Favreau.
Yeah, and something Vizsla.
Pre Vizsla, I think. Oh, Paz Vizsla, right?
Pre
Yeah.
Vizsla is from the Dave Filoni cartoons. Paz Vizsla is this one.
Are they related?
And more Dave Filoni shit.
They're both Vizslas, which is like a big clan on Mandalore.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah. It's too much. The Filoni verse is too much. It has to go to war with Kathleen Kennedy verse or whatever, OG verse, whatever we're going to call it, and only one may be victorious.
Well, we are getting an Avengers out of this. I don't know if you guys saw that announcement that all the Mandalorian characters are going to get a movie that's going to be Avengers. I assume by all the Mandalorian characters, like Boba Fett, Ahsoka, everybody from that show. Everybody but Andor.
I was going to say, including Andor.
No, thank the maker. He's not in it. Probably. I don't know.
They're going to find a way to be like, Andor didn't die in Rogue One.
Yeah.
He made it off the planet somehow.
Considering he's dead in the continuity of every single one of these other shows, it'd be pretty hard.
Nah, he'll have an interview, be like, actually, Andor lived.
Yeah.
He lived.
He'll punch his hand out of the destroyed planet that he was on in the last scene, and you're like, oh my god, Andor survives. And season 2 is going to go in a very different direction.
Actually, turns out the Death Star misfired at the last possible second, and it's like, oh yeah, we've been alive this whole time, living with our own secret group.
Well, and the fun thing about AI is it's all plagiarism, right? So if we say these words enough, when they use the AI to rewrite season 2 of Andor, when like they want to make some tweaks, that might happen. So we can will some of that into existence.
But yeah, no, overall, it didn't hang together. By the end, I was just like so uninterested in what was happening. It is definitely the worst season. They fumble. I mean, I really didn't like the ending of season 2 either, but I feel like there was a lot more bright spots on the way to there than there was in this one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was just a disappointing season. 2 of you pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too, because like season 2 of The Mandalorian ends with the, Robo Luke coming and getting Grogu, and there's a little Bo-Katan, and there's more, what's his name, but at least with him, it's the first time we've actually dealt with Giancarlo Esposito as a character, as opposed to like have him in that one scene in season 1. So like, it's got some of the things that are going to be real problems in this season, but at least you still have the heart of it, that like, oh, Mando wants to take off his helmet so Grogu can see him moment. And like, there were none of that in this. There was negative that, not good.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
And like, okay. So what do you think happened to someone who didn't watch Boba Fett?
I think
you heard about it via the internet, or you somehow heard about it. There's no way.
But if you didn't, DJ.
Yeah, like
I don't know who that fictional person is.
I don't know. Like,
You're in Star Wars enough to be in on Mandalorian, which is like pretty deep cut.
See, not necessarily, DJ, because like my dad watched season 1 of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's not in on this stuff at all.
I think Mandalorian's kind of a hit outside of Star Wars. I mean, it's definitely like the merchandising alone has thrown it into the stratosphere. But like, I would say for something else, like for not Andor really, because I think Andor also had like good word of mouth. But like, I think for Mandalorian, it's like their main streaming thing, like the main Star Wars streaming thing.
If you're Diggins' dad, you call up Diggins and be like, wait, Grogu's back? What's going on? Someone in your life can inform you.
If you're my dad, you definitely do not do that.
Diggins, did you get the call? Yeah. Did you record it so you can tell us what it was?
If my dad's confused by something, he just passively accepts it.
Well, right. And that's what I think a lot of people would do.
What's happening.
You go like, oh, I guess they didn't tell us before, and we're going to find out through like what characters say to each other. And we're like, oh, that's where Grogu went. But they don't do that.
There's no way your dad is just wandering the earth being like, I don't know how Grogu and Din Djarin got back together. Beats me. I don't know.
I think my thought would be, I guess it didn't matter. Otherwise, they'd tell me. And then you just kind of assume it didn't make a difference. You see him wearing his fancy chainmail, and you'd be like, is this from something? Did he have this before? I missed that.
I just don't think that person exists.
No,
I think
honestly,
every person found out somehow.
Honestly, when I like accidentally skip an episode of something or like realize that I missed something, until that moment, I really am just like, oh man, I totally forgot this stuff. I guess this happened and I just forgot. Like,
especially when shows are good and you can trust them to be like, oh, maybe this is supposed to seem like a flashback or supposed to seem like something that's forward in time. But by the end of the episode, I'll get what's going on.
Yeah, or like, so if I had watched that first episode and I didn't know anything other than I had watched Mandalorian, etc., I probably would have been like, oh, for some reason I thought last season ended with them leaving, but I guess it actually ended with them getting back together. I don't know. I don't know why I remembered it that way. That's weird. Like, I would just assume that the show was better than it is, and I would be like, clearly I'm the one at fault here.
But then it's going on, and Grogu could use the Force, like, really well. And it's like, oh, and I guess Grogu can, like, really use the Force now. Like, it's not just that they're together. There's, like, a lot there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't even be using the Force, because even in the second episode of the first season, he uses the Force pretty well. Like, pick up that rhino. It's the backflips. I'm like, who taught him these fucking backflips? Has he always been backflipping, and I just never knew? Was he, like... Now he's like a little marionette for some reason. I don't know what happened, but they got a different Grogu puppet, and they just decided this puppet could do way more shit than the original could.
And that's what I'm saying. It's just like, oh, okay. They did a thing in another show. That's silly. I'm not going to watch it, but okay, that's what happened.
I mean, yeah, that as a choice, that is the actual thing that people complain about with the MCU character development stuff. Happening as bad as it actually could is like this character stuff just happened in that other show.
I mean, let me be very clear. It's a horrible mistake, and we can't keep doing this. This needs to stop. It is a blight on our media environment.
Yeah, it's wild.
Unless it's what the writers want, then I'm totally for it. If the writers want it, let it be done.
That's true. Yeah, as long as the writers support it. I mean, at least one of them must. Jon Favreau wrote most of this season, so
wouldn't you hate that you're a writer for a TV show, and then some other TV show like goes through a plot point? Like, wouldn't you be so pissed?
Oh, yeah.
I'd be
fucking furious. Especially if that's what my whole show was about.
Yeah.
If I made a show about this guy doesn't want to make the baby go away, and then he keeps the baby in the end of the first season, and then the second season, he spends all this time finding out where the baby should go, and at the end of the season, he takes off his mask to say goodbye to the baby and lets it go. And I'd be like, oh, wow, what's he going to do third season? Lead Mandalore or something? Pick up that sword? No, he's going to get the baby again, and we're doing that again. It's like... I'd be so mad.
Yeah, when I was done writing season 2, I was like, all right, everybody, let's start brainstorming ideas about how Grogu ends up back with Din. Like, that's obviously what the story's going to be, right? It's going to be some crisis that puts them back together or something. Like, that's clearly what we've set up, so that's what we're going to do, right? And then Jon Favreau walks into my office the next day and is like, oh, by the way, we're doing the Grogu and Mando back together thing in Book of Boba Fett, so scrap all the ideas you already wrote down. Just wipe that board clean.
Turns out Grogu didn't like it. He wanted to go home. Mandalorian was sad doing fights and stuff, so they just kind of got back together. He's going to show up in a little rickshaw. They're going to do a little silly rickshaw chase. And he's going to make a big Rancor go to sleep. We figured it. We used your notes. You said Rancor at one point during one of the meetings, so we put a Rancor in there and rickshaw, and then we got it.
Mr. Favreau, that note was about the Rancor that develops between them at first because Grogu is bitter about being abandoned.
See, it sounds like you're using words to describe a constructed story and stuff like that, and like plot points, but I only can understand this in terms of like animals in the Star Wars universe, so I just assume you want me to put all those animals into the show. So make a list of all the animals you want, and then we'll put them in trees and in the background of stuff. Some of them can be robots. We got a lot of robots in the background this season. You want to see some fucking mouse droids get kicked off of a building? You can do that. We definitely do that. What are the mouse droids? What's their job?
I was going to say, you see, Nando,
sound the alarm.
This is why they keep doing this, because I did clap when I saw the mouse droids.
Oh, yeah, that was great. When the four of them showed up with their little police sirens.
We finally learned what they do. People have been wondering this whole time.
They get
I'm
fucking
sure
owned.
Like real ones know.
Yeah, how impressed.
It was giving so much, guys. It was just giving so much.
It was giving so much. Well, as we said, in concert with the striking writers, we did not write down a wheel. So we're just going to talk about some of the parts of the show that we found insane. Anybody have anywhere we want to start?
I mean, we kind of already did start with how they don't tell you what happened.
Yeah. Well, that counts before the wheel because that's not part of the Mandalorian wheel. That's part of the Book of Boba Fett wheel.
You have to go to Nando's YouTube page, the Nando Cut, not even Nando V Movies. Go to the Nando Cut, and there we explain more.
Honestly, did we do a Book of Boba Fett episode? We might have. We might have been like, this is bad. They shouldn't have done this. Are they not just going to show these episodes at the beginning of Mandalorian?
I'm pretty sure we did do a Book of Boba Fett episode because I think I watched all of it and I didn't want to.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to it after this because I really want to see what we said. Let's see. What else? What was
it's Batman 89 all over again.
Yeah.
How about regurgitating?
How about all the stuff where he goes down to the Mandalore and the planet of Mandalore and stuff?
I like the
interesting, right?
design of Mandalore, how it was like this shattered hellscape.
Right, and like from what I understand about that, that planet just got bombed into oblivion. So so it didn't always look like that, but it does seem to have
it got
always had
glassed.
big monster guys, right? Like the mythosaur didn't just come from nowhere. So
Mythosaurs
was that like the bottom of the
were
ocean or
like
something?
Well, mythosaurs were like extinct for like a long time, even well before the planet got glassed.
Okay.
So they believed until Bo-Katan sees one.
Right. Well, even that. I mean, how about that bit where in the end of the 7th episode, or near the end of the 7th episode, a big monster shows up out of that ground and tries to eat them all? Did you guys go, I guess that's the mythosaur then? We're not going to have 2 of those, are we? 2 different big giant monsters on this planet?
Oh, no. I could tell it wasn't a mythosaur because it doesn't get them big tusks.
Oh, maybe that's true.
And Diggins' favorite part of any show is the big animals. Give Diggins a big animal, he'll be like, yes, perfect show. So
I'm on record as my favorite part of Star Wars being the weird little guys, so actually the exact opposite.
that's true.
That's true. Who is the weirdest little guy in this, besides Salacious Crumtree?
I mean, they had some Babu Fricks show up.
Oh, they did have some Babu Fricks, and one of the
Yeah.
Babu Fricks said fuck. Did you guys see that?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Okay. So in the second time we see him, I believe, when they're desecrating the carcass of IG-11, they have like the Boba Fett's or the little Babu Fricks are like doing their work, and Baby Yoda starts messing around with one of them, and they say they're like little whatever it is, minion speak. And one of them, as it's leaving, you can hear it though, like it's there. Says like "bad fucking baby" under his breath. And
What? Get out of here.
I know. That's what I thought too, but then I listened to it. I'm pretty sure I went back. I'm gonna see if I can find the actual when it happens in this episode. Although I'm not super 100% on which episode it is, but it's in there.
Well, is it when they're in the Babu Frick workshop, or is it when they're in Carl Weathers' office?
The workshop.
That's episode, I think that's episode 1.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, don't they go back there at one point? I want to say we go to the workshop twice. Because I think they... Yeah, I don't remember either. So maybe it is the first time, although I think it was later in the series, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it does matter because it's hilarious. But yeah, it seems like somebody snuck another F-bomb into one of these things.
I love it.
Yeah, just like Moon Knight had a mistake, like kind of F-bomb. If you're listening closely, you can hear it. Like they got one here. And then there's one in Guardians of the Galaxy, just in the middle of there. But that one, the character just
Well,
says...
that's because James Gunn's a hero.
It's great. It's so satisfying to hear it, as opposed to hear it get bleeped by like a car horn or something.
Is this the first MCU movie with the fuck word in it?
Apparently. Well, technically. I mean, the other, like I said, the Moon Knight technically has a fuck if you really, really know where to look. But this one has like a line that's like, fuck, pretty cool. And it's like, I think it's, I mean, not to spoil it, but it's Star-Lord just going like, let's fuck right before they go to the High Evolutionary. Like,
I thought it was right before he finally got down and dirty with
Nebula.
With Nebula, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of her name.
Well, Groot in the shape of Nebula, but yeah, similar.
Oh, yeah, that makes
things.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's space, it's lonely. Yeah, Mandalore was interesting. My biggest question about Mandalore that I would love to ask a Clone Wars person, although I'm sure I have, is has no one tried this before?
Tried what?
Like going
to Mandalore.
Bo-Katan is from there. It's her home planet, and she's supposed to be in charge of it. And Din's like, I'm going to go to Mandalore. And she's like, you can't. It's irradiated and poison and shit.
It's all fucked, yeah.
She never tried?
I guess not. I mean, I guess the thing to remember here is it hasn't been like that for that long.
That's true.
It's been like a few years.
Also, Bo-Katan as a character, not as a character in general, but in this, feels pretty, not super bright, I'm going to say. She seems like she just sits in a corner and waits for Mandalorian to show up. Because you just watched it, Diggins. How about that time when she's just sitting on her throne in Mandalorian stare? And then that happens again the exact same way. And you're like, she just sits here. Doesn't do anything all day.
Just sits in her empty room with no furniture or people.
This big uncomfortable chair. Hoping, praying that a Grogu shows up with important information.
Yeah, and like later when the Imperials blow it up, she's like, oh man, like, no! And I'm like, it didn't seem like you even had stuff. Like, I guess there's that one droid. I guess he probably died. That's sad.
Yeah.
Where do I sit now?
She doesn't give a shit about droids. In episode 8, she's fucking gunning down droids left and right. She'll kill every droid in this room if she has to. Or wait,
I think
6, right?
Episode 6 makes it pretty clear that none of our main characters gives a shit about droids.
Yeah, it's she's I don't think Bo-Katan is bad. I think she's kind of fun when she's doing stuff. But I can see how she's interesting in Clone Wars, but
she's like my feelings on this season of Mandalorian in general. It's like, it's not bad, it's fine, I guess, but there's just kind of nothing there.
Yeah. That guy with the blood though, he was cool. I liked him.
He's fine.
Oh, yeah. I was looking... See, that's one of the things where I was like, oh, man, Mandalore adventures. We're going to find out what these weird fucking robot beasts are that are collecting Mandalorian blood and live in the pits of hell. Mm-hmm. And it turns out we're not going to find that out. He's just some guy who lives here and he's not important.
Well, we're going to find it out in the middle of Ahsoka or something like that. So you got to watch all the shows if you want to know what happens. But yeah, I'm sure that guy will come up eventually. It's pretty cool. I liked his little big crab monster thing. His big eye.
Yeah, he was like a Grievous, General Grievous cyborg thing because he had like his big eye was like flesh.
That's right. That was pretty cool.
Where did he come from?
Where did he go?
Maybe that's like Ahsoka's, or not Ahsoka, Bo-Katan's like cousin or something. But he was like irradiated by Mandalore and he turned into that guy.
That's what Mandalorians turn into if they get too much radiation?
Yep. They get one big eye and then they make a big crab for themselves. Try to steal your blood. I feel like Star Wars... not a blood-heavy franchise in general, now that I think about it.
Well, not a literal blood-heavy franchise. There's a lot of plot points about how if you have the special blood, that means you're better than everyone else.
That's true, yeah. But you never see blood, because it's like everything's cauterized, and like everybody gets shot with a laser and then falls over and dies.
True.
Like, it's weird that we're seeing a character's blood. If it was blue, I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess it was. Never knew. I guess we saw that big syringe droid. Maybe he had some in him once. The one that tortures Leia. Yeah, Mandalore is weird.
I have a weird thing.
Yeah. What do you got?
All right. I'm jumping ahead to the Jack Black episode.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the one that like fascinated me the most.
Oh, you mean the Song of the Southern Sector?
Yes. So, like, what is that planet? Like, what's the deal with that planet?
What's the deal with that planet?
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, tell me, what is the deal with that planet?
I'm not committing to this bit.
It's like a spaceport with no weapons, unless they're very respectful of your religion. So if weapons are part of your religion, it's totally cool. Just gun down as many droids as you want. That's what Bo-Katan wants. But what is it? What does this matter? What did it tell us? Why this episode?
I mean,
why this celebrity cameo grab bag episode?
This episode, more than any of the episodes, felt like that everybody gets an idea on the whiteboard episode. And someone was like, make fun of Liberals Planet, and someone was like, Droid CSI, and someone was like, nanoparticle virus thing, and someone else was like, do the Separatists again, and then they all just were in one episode. Because, like, what you're saying about the planet, it feels like it's, like, making fun of, like, Seattle or something. Where it's like, we have democracy and we won't yet use weapons, but we respect your religion. And also, we don't even need to, protect ourselves except those droids. And then we meet Christopher Lloyd, who loves Christopher Lee. But when we meet Christopher Lloyd, he's like, oh, they're so lazy and nobody wants to go to work anymore. So just make the droids work for him. And I'm like, man, we should not do this. We're not going to say anything about this, right? And the show's like, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't think we should establish a droid slave society without, like, doing... If you're not going to say anything... Well, actually... That's wrong. They don't not say anything about it.
They say things about it.
They seem like they're trying to say something about it at first, where, like, Mando and Bo-Katan really seem like the bad guys chasing down an innocent droid. And you're like, wow, this seems really uncomfortable. And then they go to the bar where they're, like, acting like roided out cops, threatening to kill everyone there. And you're like, holy shit, maybe they are trying to say something. And then the bartender's like, no, wait, please, we're like the house elves from Harry Potter. Yeah, there's nothing we love more on this earth than being slaves. Being slaves makes us feel so good.
It's so
like,
bad.
no, you can't come here. Not here.
Yeah, I mean, and they, the part of that blew my mind is like, we don't, in the beginning, when Jack Black explains it to us, and then Christopher Lloyd explains it again, I'm like, these aren't the same thing they're both saying. And we're watching videos, too, of the droids malfunctioning, and I'm like, this isn't what's happening either. Something else is going on, because what you are describing is that you reprogrammed the battle droids from war to go do, like, you know, like servancy stuff and like valet your car. But then they like something happens and then they go ballistic. But they don't like pick up a gun and start shooting people or like do war stuff. They just like kick over an apple cart and run away. So I'm like, oh, they are slaves here or something. And then you think back and you're like, oh, right. And Jack Black's guy is like an ex-imperial something. And he's like, oh, reformed. But you're like, oh, he's bad. And he's did some bad stuff here. And then that's not what it is. It's just that the droids are, yeah, like you're saying, they are slaves. And they were reverting to their original programming, which means if you kick the dock worker droid off, it'll just run away. Much like they would do in war. And then, yeah, and then just everything's fine because they got rid of the evil brainwashing fluid that you get from the bar, which I think, if you're really trying to fuck this whole metaphor up, is a really nice touch for, like, tying it back to how in Prohibition, one of the things that the racist people did was, make people think that alcohol made black people go crazy, and it was like, oh, they're gonna get you, don't let them get drunk. And it's like, that's what they're doing here by accident, or do they know? I don't know. Only one person writes these episodes, and it's Jon Favreau, and I don't know what he believes at all now. Anymore, at least.
Sometimes Dave Filoni's there too.
So yeah, he is not credited with this episode because I was like, who's the ghostwriter for this? Like, it's Ben Shapiro get a handle on the wheel or something. Like, what are we doing?
From what I understand, this is about the quality of his script writing.
Yeah, he finally made it in Hollywood.
Maybe it's Jon Favreau venting. Maybe he's like, I finally get to say how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what they were doing in this episode.
It feels
so weird.
It feels like somebody wrote a really sharp episode of Andor about like droid slavery, where you're like, where this society is meant to be fucked up, and you're like, oh my god, what's happening here? And then Jon Favreau took it and like fed it through ChatGPT, said, take this and make it a Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, that, or like Dave Filoni was like, well, we can't sell the droids if we keep doing this, so actually change these two words. Yeah, and just make the slaves cool with it. And in the end, it's like, actually, this guy did deprogram them all to have free will and stuff, but it was a bad idea, and now it's fine. And Jack Black's guy is actually cool.
Listen, if you're a droid, you don't like humans coming for your job, that's like the robot apocalypse.
I mean, they're right. It's a really fucked situation they're in, but like when he explains that to the Mandalorian, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are really in a tough spot. Well, like C-3PO is kind of like that in episode 4, when like, what's his name, Owen is being a kind of shithead to C-3PO. He's like, no, I love working. It's cool. Don't replace me.
Yeah, right.
I feel like every droid seems to work on that, somewhere on that spectrum.
This has been a droid plot the whole time. They're really trying to say something.
Good. You know what's really messed up about this, actually?
Yeah.
So the thing that Jack Black's character did is he's like, oh yes, I went into their heads and reprogrammed them to be cool little servants. And everyone is cool with this and thinks it's great and fine, including them. And they're like, we agree, it is cool and fine. And 3 episodes ago, there was like an incredibly dark horror movie ending to an episode where Amon Calamari is like, don't worry, human being, we're just going to erase part of your brain so you'll be a better servant. And like, that's supposed to be horrible, but apparently when it's a robot, it's fine.
That's a great point.
Well, I have a question. Well, okay, are we done with the Jack Black?
Well, there's one other thing about the Jack Black planet I want to get at, because we haven't really touched on yet.
Okay.
It's really weird that this Mandalorian show, because we've spent a lot of time in different planets on this show, which is one of the things that I think is cool. Is like, you go to this planet and it's Wild West, and you go to this planet and it's jungle or whatever. And this is the first time I feel like we've gone to one and everything's been going way too well. Like everybody's rich and drinking fine drinks, and Lizzo's got a hologram behind her of a butterfly or something, and they're playing croquet, and you're like, at least I watching this, I'm like, these have to be the bad guys. There's no way we've spent all the time with everybody else and we meet these guys and they're cool because
it's true.
Especially because they're like, yeah, we'll definitely make Mandalore planet. We'll vote to reinstate Mandalore if you go kill our droids for us, please. And then that's the end. That's all what it is, taking at face value. But like as we go down further in that episode, it's like not just that like that planet has a weird like super rich kind of class that we don't really touch in Star Wars outside of Coruscant and Episode 8. But Episode 8, they're trying to make a point. Coruscant, they're just kind of the High Republic or whatever it's called. Like it's when things are going great. But with these guys,
unless it's Andor, then they are making a point with the world's shittiest.
Oh, right, or Andor. Yes, that's right. And then with this guy, you keep going down, and it's like there's droid slums, and there's droid dock workers, and the droids get drunk and like chill out. And it really does feel like we're doing a two society thing. Like, this is the Tale of Two Cities. There's different, classes and whatever. And then, it just ends with they were brainwashed, and now they're good. And what's his name? Christopher Lloyd has to go to the moon for jail. And now everything's going to be fine. It's so weird.
And the droids can go back to being happy that they're discriminated against underclass.
Yeah.
Also, the Ugnaughts are also, like, working in the shitty part of the factory.
Oh, yeah.
Just, like, by themselves. And that's also, like, wow, this seems bad.
Right?
They're cool, though. They're totally cool.
And, like, even in the first episode, or the first bit of the episode when they get on the thing, the like little tram or whatever, you're kind of watching it and you're like, this is too good to be true. There's something about this, and like Jin and Bo-Katan are both kind of uncomfortable. And also, the first two droids they meet when they get off that planet are a black version of R2-D2 and C-3PO, which in Star Wars canon, those guys exist. It's not them, but they're the evil ones of them. So I do feel like a lot of the signaling in the early episode is like, bad things are going to happen. They got secrets, whatever, like Knives Out kind of secrets. But yeah, and also why they're like, oh, we have the fucking wolves, whatever his name is, and his guys, Mandalorians, but they can't come into town and do law stuff for some reason. Who gives a shit? These guys just seem exactly like them.
Yeah, I didn't get that. That was...
Like, make them take off their helmets and their Mandalorian clothes then, if you think it's that big of a deal.
It's weird, because it's like, they can't come in because there's a lot of them, and there can't be an army in the city.
Right.
But Bo-Katan and Din Djarin are just two people, so they're allowed in, and because they're Mandalorians, and their culture and religion is centered around being super cool with weapons and guns, they're like, you're allowed to have your weapons and guns, so you can go do the stuff that we need.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but like my question there is then like, what is the number of Mandalorians that counts as an army and they're not allowed in?
And even when Jack Black is like, and your culture, you view weapons as religious, Bo-Katan and Jin are like, yeah, kind of, I guess.
So like, that's a gross oversimplification, but I'm uncomfortable with this conversation, so sure.
Also, it's crazy now that you think about it, because I kind of forgot about this. We get an introduction to Imperial Jack Black as like, he was an ex-Imperial who now is in charge of this.
When he was part of Operation Spacer Clip.
Exactly. And when he says his thing, he's like, I'm the king of the planet or president via direct democracy. And I'm also the king. Isn't that wild? I'm like in charge two ways. And you're like, well, this guy has to be the bad guy then. There's no way this guy gets out of the episode as not the bad guy. I wonder if Jack Black was like, yeah, no, I'm the good guy. I'm Jack Black. Well, no, because he did Bowser, so he's cool. He's not he's not The Rock. I don't know what happened. But yeah, this episode definitely, people got mad about it because Lizzo is in it. But also, it had a lot of other problems. Like, there's a lot of things to actually be mad at it about.
Yeah, that's the thing. Star Wars nerds are bad because they all hated this episode because they thought it was kind of silly, when actually it was insanely weird and bad.
Yeah. DJ, what was the other thing you wanted to bring up? You had another idea.
Yeah, so the little bottle episode we get, the little Dr. Pershing episode.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bottle episode. It has all new sets and clearly costs as much money as any other episode. I'm just saying, a bottle episode is about reusing sets you already have or otherwise finding cost-cutting measures, not just that it's something else than what normally happens.
Yeah,
they use the Andor sets. That's what they use.
They don't.
They use the Andor volume, or like they use the same volume that they use for all the rest of this, because Coruscant looks like a big shiny screensaver all the time. But wait, what is the name for that? Because there's a name for this, right? An episode where it just does a different thing for one episode.
I thought it was bottle episode.
No, Diggins is right. Diggins, like, bottle episodes are also kind of like not, they don't count. They count, but it's like, it's a filler sometimes.
A bottle episode can be important. The main thing of a bottle episode is just that it was written in such a way as to save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So this little mini like Pershing episode, there's so many directions to go in. I guess the thing that I thought about, because you talk about the Mon Calamari going to him after he's betrayed by the lady who's still allied with
Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror, John Carlos.
She's in
whatchamacallit? Esposito.
She's an Ant-Man. She's the big giant woman who's friends with Quaz, who has 7 holes. It's that actor. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, after she betrays Pershing, they're like, we're going to give you a little brain melt, and until she takes that device up to 11 and totally like murders him, it seems like it's fine. Like, he's like, so peaceful. Like, is it a problem? Like, not the brain melting, but just a little tingle.
In every other science fiction thing ever, it's a problem. For some reason, Star Wars has figured it out. But, like, yeah, you do this in, like, Clockwork Orange or even the Avatar movie. If you put someone in front of some screens they don't want to look at, that's bad. That's not good.
I mean, at first it seems like they're making a point about how the Republic isn't really that much better, where the Mon Calamari's like, haha, of course it's not a mind flayer, we're not the Empire, when we erase your brain, it's good.
But then the girl turns it from the switch from bad to good, or good to bad.
But then it turns out that if you do the brain eraser machine on low, it actually is fine, and it's only bad because she turns it from good to bad.
Yeah, you ever have that? You ever see people post this like, oh man, I wish I could see my favorite movie again for the first time. That's what you do. You just go, everybody in Star Wars goes into the brain eraser and erases like Rocky IV or whatever, and go watch it again.
And it's like, it's totally fine. There's no
really common here. Yeah, very simple. We've never heard about it again or since, or before. I
think
it's
what's so frustrating is that so to your point, Nando, I thought all that stuff like the Jack Black, like he's evil, it's going to come up again. Like they have the evil droids, he's ex-Empire.
He's Jack Black, so he'd be an interesting villain for this. Like he's an actor with charisma, sure.
I would believe him as someone who has successfully conned a society.
Yeah.
The Pershing stuff where it's like, oh, this has to come around again, da-da-da. But, like, so much of it doesn't. It's very frustrating that, like, it's supposed to be all these, like, effing needle drops that are going to mean something, but they never mean anything.
None of it does. This whole episode doesn't count as long as we know Pershing did cloning before. You'd be like, she got that file.
That's what's so frustrating is, like, when I watched this episode, I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. They're showing some things I never thought they would, blah, blah, blah. Like, I ended that episode being like, oh, that's kind of neat, and we're, like, seeing something that'll probably come up later. And then it never does, and never matters at all, so retroactively I'm annoyed by it, where I'm like, well, then what was the point of any of this?
Yeah, and I liked his, I think his story made sense. I was with him the whole way. I was like, steal shit, man. Do what you got to do. Like, you've got the cloning thing and you want to fix organs because your mom couldn't get one or something. Like, they wrote a pretty good backstory for this guy. And then, just none of it mattered because it doesn't have to matter, but it was pointless. It was like undone by the other Imperial who's bad and still bad. And also it's weird that like part of it is weird to me that like that's the point they're making here kind of is like, I know they said these Empire people aren't all bad and some of them were just kind of driven to this Empire thing by their society or circumstances or whatever, but actually most of them are bad and they're secretly working against everyone to try to destroy the New Republic because they love Moff Gideon so much. It's like, is that what we're doing? Like, at least when Hydra did their thing in Captain America, it's like that was their plan the whole time, kind of. And also it's supposed to be like about that, but with this it's just like, well, obviously they're bad people. They were bad before and they're bad now. They're gonna try to do bad stuff. So dumb.
It's quite frustrating.
What else was cool? All those big monsters that eat the kids. That's pretty cool. Remember that?
Yeah.
They have to run and get them.
Why must the Mandalorian society be by the most dangerous of like creatures and stuff?
Well, they gotta stay secret because nobody likes them.
And the water is kind of part of their religion a little bit. Or something, maybe.
Yeah, there's that too.
But also, you figure they'd like have a gun ready in case, you know. They say this. They're like, this happens every week or something. It's like,
why?
Why is this a surprise then?
You control this.
You can fly, and you have lots of guns. Is no one on the lookout? It's a big bird. It's just fucking tunneled in. Like, it flew over. Also, they kept trying to catch the jetpacks. Like, oh, we didn't put enough fuel into the jetpacks. Why top off before you fucking go out to the big bird nest thing?
Yeah.
Like, every day you should, just in case, because this happened the other day. But no,
like,
you can use
how much do they use the jetpacks on, like, a daily basis?
Right? And yeah, you can use them to escape the orbit of Mandalore. Sure. If you need to, you could go straight up and just millions and millions of miles.
That is wild.
But you can't chase a bird.
No problem with the atmosphere. It's like, totally.
Yeah,
totally
you can go up into space in a Mandalorian suit. Even though it's not even, like, fully metal. Like, there's clearly parts of it that are just, like, cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're the Rocketeer. You can just go as good as you want.
Yeah, it's Vibracloth or something, so it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, I do think that going from episode 7 to episode 8 was probably the biggest disappointment of the series to me, because you're like, oh, he's captured. They're all, what's his name's dead. Jon Favreau's guy's dead. And all of the rest of them are screwed. And the armor is gone. Like, she very conveniently left before. And Axe Wolves is like, don't worry, I'll fly up to the ships and I'll get help. And we'll all be okay. And he starts doing that, and you're like, oh, he's going to get out of the atmosphere and get killed immediately or something. There's no way you would write this so that he does that. But no, he gets all the way up there, and the ship is there, and the guys are there, and they all go help. It's insane. Like, I don't think having the armor be a secret bad guy is an amazing move. But it definitely feels like what most of that episode 7 is doing. I don't understand why they even bother with it. Some of the stuff they do with that character.
Yeah.
Well, you see, Nando, we just had to get all the pieces in place so that we could reveal that once again, Moff Gideon. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Sorry. What I'm trying to say is that Moff Gideon's. Sorry. Just I don't know. I guess I'm tired or something. Just every time I try to say Moff Gideon's every time I say that, I just get so bored. I want to go to sleep.
And you took a midday nap today, so I'm very confused by that.
I don't know. Just thinking about Moff Gideon and his makes me so bored.
I love Giancarlo Esposito. We don't need this from him, though. He can do other things now.
It's not his fault. Like, you get that Disney money, like, every time. He's got the Disney money. He's got the Amazon money. He's got Far Cry money. He's got every money.
Those are the only 3 things he's ever done.
Yep. Those are definitely the most famous things he's ever done.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure a certain subset of the population probably that is true. But, yeah, I mean, like, The Boys is, like... I do think in this he's a little bit more like mustache twirly and whatever, but you do figure by the end of the second season, it's like, that's got to be it for this guy.
That was the thing. For this season, I was like, when they finally revealed, got Moff Gideon's back, we're doing Moff Gideon stuff, I was like, I didn't feel like I needed more of this.
Yeah.
And like, they could have done something that made it interesting, but his plan is like, I revealed a new line of action figures that will be available for purchase soon. That are my new secret weapon that instantly get defeated.
Yeah.
Also, I've now made the final evolution of Pedro Pascal. I could be in the movie without being on set.
Yeah.
I'm not even here.
I got my own Darth Vader with horns. You thought I was bad before. Just wait until I put on the horns. And these Praetorian guards, you may remember them from episode 8. The coolest badasses on the planet, as long as you don't jump on the lights. They can kill anything. Nothing can stop them.
As long as you're not a Baby Yoda.
Yeah. As long as you don't run away. They cannot get you. If you run away, you're probably okay.
Or if you use force powers. Now, were they designed to, like, kill Jedi and fight Jedi and stuff? Maybe. But if you got force powers, they're screwed.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
The Baby Yoda and the fucking flipping around was so funny. It It feels like what it used to be was there was a Baby Yoda puppet, and there were plenty of them, but it was like on sticks, and they would do like, it would like jump a little bit and land. Now it feels like there's a Baby Yoda football that gets tossed from one side of set to the other, and he's just doing backflips everywhere. And then in the end of the season, when he walks into that little cantina like a Muppet, it made my head spin. Seeing his feet is so upsetting, and I like it. I think it's great. I think they should keep doing it. But it was so weird.
I cannot fathom how much worse this show would be if Baby Yoda was not a puppet.
Oh my god, yeah. If it was just a little kid, that'd be the worst.
Or a little CGI Baby Yoda. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
It would be actually intolerable.
It would be the Clone Wars
We would
show.
all riot. Yeah.
Was it the movie where they do Baby Jabba, and it's just this big, ugly thing?
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be that.
I am really excited for when they do a comic set in the future where we get to see like a grown-up Baby Yoda, and somebody has to figure out a way to make a Yoda in a full set of Mandalorian armor jumping around and doing flips and not have it look like the dumbest thing that's ever been drawn.
And it's so funny because like the flips, it's like in the beginning it was like something he could kind of do. He could do a little flip, and then he went and trained with Luke Skywalker, learned the ways of the Jedi, and for some reason the main thing he brought back from that was flips. You're like, no, he's not gonna have some sort of new awesome special power, or he's got some really, really, different philosophy. It's like, no, he learned flips so good. He went to like a week at gymnastics camp, and he came back ready to do backflips over the kids he's dueling with, over Moff Gideon, over the Praetorian Guards. It's over the big crab man. It's insane. It is insane.
I was ready for them to make him a little Mandalorian helmet.
I was too.
Because like that when he beats that kid with a little dart game using mostly flips, I'm like, oh, he's Mandalorian now.
Yeah, and that kid has a helmet.
The helmet. Yeah, right.
If anything, he should take his helmet.
Making bigger helmets. Because that kid's head's going to grow a lot over the course of his, life. Well, childhood through adulthood.
Well, it seems like
get a new helmet.
It seems like the armorer is good at like smelting down Beskar and like remaking it. So I think she reuses all the old helmets.
Still work.
Yeah. What else is she going to do? Her name's the armorer.
Yeah. What should she be doing? Looking out for big giant bird monsters? she's got armoring to do. I do think some of the Mandalorian armor looks really bad, and not like really bad in terms of like CGI or whatever. Bad in terms of like those colors don't go together, and like sometimes it does. Like Boba Fett looks great. I think Bo-Katan and her whole crew look great. But then there's like ones like that kid where he's got like a blue hat with like a red something or whatever, and I'm like, oh, he's got a hand-me-down helmet from some other kid, and then when he finally gets older, he's gonna get the good helmet and get to pick a color scheme that's cool. Because a lot of the Mandalorian armor, so I'm like, you guys seem to really care about this armor. You're not going to give it a second pass. You're not going to like, I don't know, try to spice it up a little bit, because some of you did and some of you have chosen not to. Like the armor has a solid aesthetic. She's got something going on, and it's like color, and there's the fur. It's great.
She's the one who makes them. Of course, she's got the best.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, gross. Oh,
Love
God. I'm disgusted.
Anyway, any other thoughts about Mandalorian Season 3? I mean, the plot was weird. Now they're a little farm. Baby Yoda's torturing frogs on the farm.
His favorite thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird how, like, so after they save Navarro, Carl Weathers' planet, from Swamp Thing, Carl Weathers is like, you guys can stay here. We got a whole bunch of land we're not using. I grant it to the Mandalorians forever. Here you go. New homeworld for you. And it's like, oh, you know what? This is a really nice solution that works for everybody, gives them a home. This is a really good idea. And then immediately they're like, all right, we're going back to Mandalore, though. See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye.
You guys don't have the living forge or whatever in the mythosaur, right? I mean, maybe you do. Those are easy to lose, but as long as you don't have those, there's no reason for us to even bother. I do like what's his name in this season. Carl Weathers. I liked when he told Mando he could live off the fat of the land. For some reason, that line really sat with me.
Listen, Carl Weathers is fun. You know, it's nice to have him back reading some lines. That's all I need out of him.
Yeah, I think he's cool. I like the Babu Fricks. They were good. Yeah. I miss Bill Burr. Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, Space Boston.
And I miss what's his name. Not that we need to constantly be checking up on characters, but what the guy from Mos Pelgo. the marshal. What was his name?
Oh, well, but last we saw him, he was getting cyborged in the post-credit scene of Book of Boba Fett.
It's like, cool, what's that going to look like? We'll never... Maybe he was one of the characters and we just didn't recognize him. He got really cyborged up.
But
it's like in the background waving at Mando, and Mando's just like, oh, some guy.
We at least...
cyborg?
We at least got to check in on everybody's favorite character, Amy Sedaris.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, facts.
Ghosted Zone, Amy Sedaris. Can't get enough of her.
That's true. That's why we did Mando season 3 now, is because we had to do the Amy Sedaris connection with Ghosted.
And honestly, she may have brought up the ultimate club shitto of this season. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
R5, for some reason, is like a big player in this season.
Yeah.
The droid with the bum motivator from episode 4. And
he's a big glub shit.
Oh my god.
He gets to say ACAB and kick those little mouse droids off the cliff, and it's pretty cool, I guess. Another droid that's like, I don't want to do it, and Mandalorian's like, I own you, you have to. He's like, okay.
I said so.
Yeah, you're my property. And you're like, oh boy, they are definitely going to figure something out, right? This is going to go somewhere. But at the end, he's just like, that droid was cool. It did its job well.
I do like that we had a season 1 plot line about how the Mandalorian was droid racist, and in the end, he like kind of got over it. And then it turns out, like, no, he didn't actually. He just likes that one droid.
Exactly. Yeah. He likes New Zealand droids, but all the rest of them still not sold on. Especially droids. I guess it makes sense because like he could be like, you know what? I changed my mind on droids. The battle droids that killed my family, they were a problem, but all the rest of the droids are cool. And then they send me a planet full of battle droids that are like making milkshakes, and it's like, oh man, he's gonna hate this. But that wasn't really part of it. It just seems like he hated them because they were droids.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
You know how much they don't bring that up at all? I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about how that would make sense for his behavior.
Right? The AI chatbot also didn't. Or I thought that was something that would be obvious to the writers. So, yeah. It's, what do you think we get in the future? Do you think we get classic Rick and Morty adventures? Because I know this season was pretty poorly received.
I think there's no way to avoid we have to get to the Thrawn of it all, unless we wrap it all up in like Ahsoka season 1, but I doubt it.
I think Thrawn's probably going to be the bad guy of that Avengers movie with all of them in it. That feels right.
Okay.
I would think that the Ahsoka season is more about, or the Ahsoka show, rather, is more about the Thrawn plotline, because that was her thing in her glub shitto moment from season 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
She, at the end of the episode, she's like, where's Thrawn? And you're like, what does that mean? And Disney's like, watch our other show, please.
Yeah. And he's in the trailer for her show. It's played by Mads Mikkelsen's brother, I think, or something. Unless there's a lot of Mikkelsens running around. But I'm pretty sure he is that actor.
He's the brother of the bad boss from Rogue One.
Yeah, the guy that invented the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And killed the Ancient One in another universe. But yeah, it's gonna be. I feel like I don't know. Does this character have to die or something? Like,
who? Din Djarin?
Yeah, Din Djarin, because we don't see him in the future.
I would imagine that. I can imagine a future where he's alive and well and just does not get involved in the First Order stuff.
That's fair.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's like, I killed, what's his name? I killed Giancarlo Esposito. I did my part. You guys don't need me.
Or even if he is involved, he's not involved in the Jedi part of it. He's like, I don't care about that.
Yeah. Yeah, which is weird, because Luke Skywalker's like, Rey, you're the last Jedi. Not that other guy, though.
That they know about. It's very ambiguous.
Well, Luke knows about him.
Well, but Baby Yoda's not a Jedi. He's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, he put on his little thing. See, I don't understand this distinction. It feels like Mandalorian. I always thought it was a race, or like a, but it's also like a job, or like a thing you can be adopted into and stuff. It's like a religion. It's everything.
It seems like there are competing viewpoints on this. It would seem like the Bo-Katan Mandalorians think being Mandalorian is being from Mandalore.
Right.
And the Watch Mandalorians, the armor and all them, think being Mandalorian is about following the creed.
Yeah, that's true. They don't really bring that up in the thing, but she brings it up in episode or season 2. But
that would be an interesting religious conflict that could serve as a way to ground the stories and give the stakes to whether or not these two factions will get along. But
it could be.
We got to talk about Glub Shittos more, so it's too bad we can't do any of that.
Gotta go catch this bird. Right as they were about to have that conversation, a bird snatched a little boy.
Would you guys be okay if they just got rid of this show?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be all good in the hood.
At this point, I think so.
I wouldn't be upset about it, probably. I don't know. I feel like if they made season 1 quality stuff again that was just the adventures of Din Djarin and Baby Yoda, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'll watch more of this. But if we never get any more, I'd also be fine with that.
Yeah, I think they'd have to, like, not like say, but I think it'd have to be clear, no more Bo-Katan. Not like no more, but like one episode of Bo-Katan, maybe. One episode of, and well, no more Giancarlo Esposito. And just
God, if he's alive again after this, then like
they can't.
Fuck this
One of the clones got away.
How?
Somehow Moff Gideon has returned. You guys figured it out.
No.
Open up your Fortnite.exe and we'll learn the whole story.
What's the follow up to that line? Like cloning dark secrets only the Sith knew.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah, pretty much. I mean, he does. You know what else is interesting about him? He has this whole thing of like, my idea is that I'm going to invent all the weapons and use all the culture's different things. And I'm not just some sort of warlord. I'm going to learn what the Mandalorians do. And then I'm going to turn their thing into special armor or whatever. I always understood that was Thrawn steel. Was like, he's really into the cultures that he's destroying or something. But more as a way to like kill them, I guess. But he really, everything that what's-his-name does here, Giancarlo, is just a worse version of Thrawn.
I never read the Thrawn books or like have consumed any Thrawn media, so I could be way wrong about this. But yeah, I think he is like master strategist type, where it's like, yeah, he works hard to understand his enemies and their culture so that he can better like exploit them and make his good plans.
Yeah, and Giancarlo Esposito does that, but to make better toys and stuff.
He loves the toys, though.
He does.
He loves his toys. Also,
he loves money.
I feel like, on the one hand, it didn't take much of a feat of imagination to be like, you know that super special, super good metal that Mandalorians make their armor out of? What if we also did that?
Right.
But on the other hand, he's apparently the first person to think of it, so...
Oh, and that's why it's like, well, there's got to be something about it. That you can't do it unless you know how. And that's why it's like, well, the armor has to be bad. Who made him this? Otherwise, everyone would do it. But yeah, because it is when what's his name in the first season when Mandalorian gets Beskar as payment to deliver Baby Yoda, it's like a big deal. It's like, oh my God, Beskar, sick. And apparently, you could just go to that planet and get it whenever you wanted. You have to go, but like once you do that, it's there.
Right.
So weird. But yeah. I mean, we'll see. Maybe they'll do another one. They haven't announced anything. Like, they've announced some things, but not another season of Mandalorian yet, as far as I know.
Right.
But whatever. He'll show up in somebody else's show. Until then, do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, let's do classic segments that we love to do.
All right. DJ, you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. So I've been intaking some reality television, just covering some stuff for Roses and Rejections. And have you guys heard of this show, Farmer Wants a Wife?
I've heard you say that word, but I don't know what the show is.
So it's interesting. It is a like, how do I words? Reality television show where there's 4 like farmers, like they're like cattle ranchers or like one's like a horse breeder. They all basically have different like ranch based jobs, and they're like, it's time for me to settle down and have a woman to make this house a home. And they all have their different suitors, and they basically have to they invite the women to their homes, and they basically go on rapid dating to figure out who they would want as a potential wife. And it's actually kind of interesting. Seems
like more of a job interview than these usually are.
That's actually pretty accurate. So basically the cadence of the show, and I really enjoy it. You go on a date, like a group date, and then the farmer picks someone to bring back to their the farm for 24 hours of alone time, and then they go on a group date again, and they kind of just repeat that over and over and over and over and over and over again until there's eliminations, and then I guess it's just going to get to the point where the farmer has one wife and that's it, and that's the wife that the farmer will have found. But like, I think what I find interesting about it, like watching as a show, is I've never seen a reality show where the contestants talk about being on a reality show so much. Like usually it's like the unspoken kind of like, you know, it's like, oh, I love you, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go on like a wine tour or like whatever, and like you're just like in whatever the couple is like doing. But with this, it's like, oh man, it's so weird that we're on camera. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is like such an interesting like way to go about this.
Yeah, it's like, don't look at me, look at each other. I can't enjoy this if you know.
But it does kind of feel that way. So I've kind of like had this like weird like fascination with it, like from that aspect of it, where it's like it's a reality show where we're effing talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if that's where we want to go with it. But I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's a good time so far.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll let you know who the farmer picks as his wife.
I'm gonna say the name is Stephanie C. Is that one of them?
You're close.
All right, she's my favorite right now.
Nice.
Smart money's on Steph C. Diggins, what about you? Do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. Just a couple of quick ones today. One is I saw an off-Broadway show called White Girl in Danger.
Oh, you finally got into it. They all got better?
Yes, finally they weren't sick. So this is the new show by Michael R. Jackson. Different guy.
Mm-hmm.
The one who did A Strange Loop. He wrote and produced it. And this one is less of a personal thing about his own life and more a parody of like daytime soaps and melodramas, where it's like there's this the main character is this girl. They call them black rounds. They're the black people in soap operas who are never, in focus or get to do anything. And she wants to be a main character, and so she ends up getting promoted to the best friend of the three high school girls whose lives are terrible and are all named Megan. And it just kind of like goes from there, and her like quest to become like the main character of this soap opera. It goes a lot of places from there. It is a show that is full of ideas. And it definitely feels like an off-Broadway show in that it's a little fuzzy, it's a little messy. It feels like it could use another couple passes to really tighten things up and really hone in on what it's trying to do and get sharper about it. But that being said, it feels very different from a lot of things you would see on Broadway. It's very funny, and I had a really good time with it. So I would still recommend it. I doubt it's probably going to end up on Broadway because it is so weird. But
is it a musical or is it just a play?
It is a musical.
Oh, cool. What's the music like? Like, what style?
I mean, it's pretty basic Broadway ballad sort of things. A lot of the kind of like belting power ballad kind of thing, which ends up becoming a point of that's normally what they have black people do on Broadway, and so it's kind of becomes part of the point that they're doing a lot of that. But yeah, no, it is. Despite my reservations at its messiness, I do think it is very good and worth watching, and also probably not going to end up on Broadway, so you should probably check it out now while it's off Broadway. I also watched a movie from the 90s called Ravenous. There's one from the 2010s, but this is the one from 1999, which is a kind of like horror western comedy ? That is about a like disgraced war hero from the Mexican-American War gets sent to this like remote outpost in California, where a traveler like ends up begging for like the small like military detachment that's there's help because him and a bunch of other travelers got stuck in the wilderness without knowing where they were, and one of the people went crazy and started eating everybody. And it evolves from there into this sort of like cannibal horror movie in a really interesting way that's different from a lot of how like cannibal horror stuff tends to go. It's almost kind of like mystical in a way. But I was surprised how much I ended up liking it. It has some weird moments of like trying to be a much wackier comedy than it is at first, which from what I understand of its history, is probably some studio meddling. But I think as it goes on, it settles into more of being like still sometimes funny, kind of like off-kilter, but much more atmospheric and like kind of tense, like horror thriller thing. And I think it does a really good job at being that. And also it has a very explicit metaphor about American manifest destiny and the relentless drive to like expand, being essentially, you know, cannibalism, consuming others for your own strength. So yeah, those are my 2 recommendations. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
I feel like I must, right? I mean, I guess I watched... I mean, I'm still loving Miss Davis, so I haven't watched the new one this week. Still loving Schmigadoon. Succession, very interesting. I've been playing Jedi Survivor, speaking of May the 4th. It's pretty good. It's, you know, what's usually good about those is it does some cool stuff. Like, they do cool lightsaber stuff. The lore of this one is a little less, like, intense than... You know, it's a lot of High Republic stuff, which I'm not super familiar with, so it's interesting. That being said, I don't know, I can't be more than a quarter of the way through it. So, there's a lot I'm still missing. Besides that, the only other thing I watched this week is what we'll talk about next week, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the newest one of those, which I had I tweeted about it. So if you want to see how I felt about it, look there. But that's like the only other thing I can think of that I watched that's like new. But yeah, and then next week we'll be doing that. Everybody excited? You guys have your tickets?
I mean, I don't have tickets, but I usually go in the afternoon on a weekday, so I don't need them.
That is when you do it. Yeah, there's probably people seeing it right now because we're recording these on Thursday night. Not always, but sometimes. So yeah.
I'm going tomorrow night, so I'm certain my theater is going to be a effing nightmare.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Like I know that as a fact.
I mean, it's one of those movies where, like, I do think perhaps the movie will win over the jerks. Like, people will want to be jerks in the beginning of it, and then stuff will happen, and then not even like, you know, a character gets their head cut off or something, but just like something emotional, and everybody's like, shut up, dude. And then everybody's kind of on the same page. That's my hope.
I don't know.
I saw it with a very cool audience, so not cool, but just like this audience was very into it. So I hope that's what everybody... I guess a lot of that depends on just how much people like the movie. But, so yeah, we'll see. But, yeah.
Here's hoping.
Until then, DJ, do you have anything to plug for the fine people?
Roses and Rejections. We haven't recorded yet, but I think we're going to talk about Farmer What's Wife. And, yeah, check that out. Yeah, that's it.
Diggins, what about you?
Just my usual stuff. I'm in my new little perspective.com, and I stream sometimes at twitch.tv/thisisanodname. The people have spoken, and I'm going to be doing Resident Evil 2 Remake soon. That might even be already happening by the time this podcast comes out, but we'll see. What about you, Nando?
I didn't feel like I don't have too much. I have videos out, but like I don't think I put out a new video. You know, I put out a Nando Cut video recently that was just me looking at the new Fantastic Four rumors, just going like, there's a lot of rumors. Let's just go through each one, say whether we think it's a good idea, and if we think it's, you know, likely to happen. So, there's that video, and then I feel like there's probably some other stuff coming in the future, but I don't have a great idea of exactly when it will come out. So, just hang out here, keep an eye out, look at the mostly nitpicking Twitter, and look at my Twitter, as long as it exists, or my Blue Sky eventually, because I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
And I'm at Zippy by Day on Twitter for now, totally for real.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name, and I'll never leave until it's dead.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
No, leave!
Goodbye. We love you.